Hello YouTube riders, welcome back to another video. Mark Ritchie with you, and welcome to Allegheny Motorcycle Adventures. Today we're going to talk about you're doing it wrong. Welcome to Allegheny Motorcycle Adventures. Ride extraordinary. Or should I say why you're doing it wrong. And this comes as a result of a post. First of all, just want to welcome everybody to the official new start of the riding season. I've been parked for 3 weeks. If a rider ever wants to know what hell is like, try existing on the aftermath of an ice storm where even if you could get your bike dug out, you really wouldn't want to be riding anyway. So we're on the other side of that now. Everything's melting. There's still snow everywhere, but the roads are pretty much cleared off. They're not so chunky. I just went over 3 mountains and they're fine. You might want to give them a couple hours of daylight before you set off, but we're here just south of Monterey on 220 and I didn't have any issues at all. So I did a post on the Allegheny Motorcycle Adventure Facebook page, and it was about why we're doing it wrong, and that was the result of a Revzilla post about how motorcycle sales have been dropping, and I kind of tied that into some of the things we do as riders, and of course I got 0 likes, and I think that's the result of just the way that it came off. I spent quite a bit of time on it, and I didn't want to come off as condescending or pretentious, as if, you know, I was preaching and telling everybody, you know, this is what you're doing, this is what I'm not doing, that type of thing. And I think it resulted in that, even though that wasn't my intent. So I just kind of wanted to go over it a little bit, because I think it's important. I think that's why we're not seeing the numbers we are in our sport, and it's because of some of those things. So I likened our motorcycling individually as to like a career or a path, and we're all on different paths. Some of us are on slow paths, some of us are on quicker paths, but I wanted it to be, let me pay attention to this car turning in front of us. I wanted it to be as if I was talking to my younger self. Oh, nice. I think I forgot where to turn. And you know, a lot of those things are from times in my life where I was, so it wasn't like I was any different than anybody else. And so I likened our path. Watch out for carpet bombing. Do I know them? Don't want anybody in front of me while I'm videoing, I'm sorry. So I likened our motorcycling career to a path, and like a vessel trying to travel through the solar system, at some point they would have had to gone through the asteroid belt of obstacles. And so I metaphorically link that to our motorcycling careers, because I think most of us would agree that we're not the same riders we were yesterday, and most of us won't be the same riders tomorrow as we are today. And there's some things that we perhaps may have grown out of that we used to do. So, and I liken like the three biggest obstacles in the asteroid belt to drugs and alcohol, adrenaline, and vanity as the three most likely motorcycle career, if not life-ending habits. And really, one of the things that is, if not deterring motorcycle sales, but I thought those were real deer, but killing motorcycling in general, because they're really not things that are truly fulfilling and part of the things that are very rewarding to riding motorcycles. They're kind of fake and artificial, and they really aren't that genuine. And I like comparing motorcycling to music, because they have a lot of similarities. You know, imagine, and I was the same way when I wanted to play guitar. They weren't really for the right reasons. They were to fit in socially and get girls, and like it wasn't until nearly a decade later that I realized, you know, playing music, writing and recording and creating was a lot more. It opened up a whole new universe of reasons why I wanted to play instruments. Starting to fog up a bit. We had to slow down. We just turned right on Meadowdale Road, and we are in the Bluegrass Valley. This is one of the most head-clearing, beautifully, just every adjective you can imagine that's good and beneficial and all of that stuff. It's just simply beautiful. I'm very fortunate that it's all cleared now and we're able to ride on. So the first thing in that asteroid belt is like drugs and alcohol. And if you're using your motorcycle to, you know, bar hop and go out and get high and otherwise impaired, you're not going to have a very lengthy career at it. That's going to catch up to you at some point. And again, I'm not saying I haven't been that guy. So, but I've realized that that's no longer for me. And something, if I could have listened to my future self, probably wouldn't have done it all. The second thing, the hazard to avoid, is adrenaline. And you know, I used to be that guy that had my first street bike was a Honda CB750, and I just couldn't wait to get off the dirt and feel what it was like to have the front tire stick when you went into a corner. So I was just like a kid in the candy store when I got out onto all these roads, and I think I was 20, 21, something like that. And that was a fast bike for its time. It still is. And you know, every stoplight I had to be like the first person at the head of the line type of thing. And I always rode fast, and you know, I'm quite fortunate to be here today, because that, you know, as you all well know, that's a very unforgiving thing. There's so many things that you just can't account for on public roads. You know, other traffic, animals, you know, intersections, driveways. It's not the environment to have that mindset in. The last hazard would be vanity, and that's, you know, it's putting how you look and how you appear first before taking the Motorcycle Safety Foundation course. You know, before learning how to ride slow in a parking lot, before knowing how to emergency stop, you know, just basic things. You know, putting your pyramid or building your pyramid from the top down without having some cornerstones in place. And some of you might argue, well, you know, having a Facebook motorcycle page and a YouTube motorcycle channel might fall under that. And I would agree with that. But I'm not going out there and seeing how far I can wheelie in front of my buddies, you know, that type of thing. We have reached the intersection of 250. And we are on Bluegrass Valley Road now. And that is Snowy Mountain in the distance. And it is just beautiful. By the way, it's 43 out. I do have the heated gear on. It's on low. Wendy's in Arctic trim with all of her vents closed. Yeah, and there's some chunkiness. There's some shade. So that's ice. Whoa. Just going to slow down a little bit here. So like the musician that is, you know, just going along with the script and playing everybody else's music and, you know, doing all the drugs and alcohol and hasn't really discovered songwriting yet. Realizing that, hey, I can do this myself type of thing. I don't have to play everybody else's music. And he just introduces himself to a world that he didn't know existed before. So that's the same way with a motorcyclist that discovers, you know, instead of just reading about all of these places, you know, up until the point where they realize they can go there themselves, you know, their widest vision of a motorcycle ride is like a Deal's Gap or someplace like that, you know, some place that everybody's been to, you know, just playing the role type of thing. When you can truly like lose yourself on a motorcycle someplace to the point where you're not only right at home with it, but you yearn for it over and over and over again to like it's its own drug type of thing. That's when you get it. And I think the motorcycle can be like an antenna to that self-realization when you can receive things without any interference or clutter, like being out here, for instance, like one of the most beautiful places on earth. It is a Saturday, so I did see a horse and buggy in Monterey where I set up the cameras. So, you know, obviously this isn't a light switch of self-realization and, you know, finding your individuality on a motorcycle. It's a process. It's something that you have to go through trials, trials and tribulations and stuff you have to grow out of. And so that's why I wanted everyone to think of this as something that your future selves would be telling your younger selves. And your future selves are always looking out for your best interests. And, so I don't want to be sounding like I'm the one preaching or talking down to anybody or pretending I'm not, someone that went through that. That's not the case at all. I've been through it all, very fortunate to have emerged from it. Look at that. I hope the camera gets it. So I just wanted to kind of clean that up a bit, and hopefully it didn't come off as preachy. That's the last thing I want to do, but I want to just put that out there just to expose people to it, like maybe have everybody kind of self-reflect a little bit. And for everybody that's kind of locked into a situation or locked into a particular bike, all I can say is this is the best riding that I've ever experienced. Doing most part. Excuse me, I just ate, so I'm trying to talk, breathe, and burp at the same time. But as soon as I leave my driveway, I'm on an open, empty road someplace, and I can just ride to my heart's content, fast as I want, as long as I want. That type of situation. Watch out, Rocky. And to me, that's where it's at. If I can go out on a ride, and no matter how long that I've been on the bike, I can come back and I'm not the same person I was before I left. And that can be very rewarding, fulfilling, bring self-awareness, that type of thing. I mean, there's so many benefits to it. So some things we have coming up is first of all is the Highland County Maple Fest, which is March 14th and 15th and 21st and 22nd. And one of the places you'll want to stop at is a mile or so down the road, called the Bluegrass Mercantile. They'll have, I'm sure they'll have some really good dining specials, along with some local products, honey and maple syrup, and stuff you can get at a country store. And they're really nice people too. So as we approach the little town of Bluegrass, Virginia, I want to thank everyone for being along with us, and we look forward to the next one. The next one, we're going to talk about the Maple Fest, and I'm going to show you some landmarks to check out if you plan on attending. So we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks again for watching Allegheny Motorcycle Adventures. Cheers and ride extraordinary.